I've worked in the schools for a long time, and I've known Chris Smith, who is the principal at the Carver Center, a little 4-year-old program. And I was talking to her once, and she suggested that they really needed men to come in and for those kids just to see men. So some of them don't have fathers, and I don't know, I guess they work. And so I told her that I'd find a group of guys and we'd, see what we could do. And we've had until this year about 7 or 8 guys who would go out there every week and spend an hour. Those maybe these are all the same. We've got different color rooms. There's a red room and a blue room and a yellow room and an orange room. And so, but we try to get somebody in every room an hour a week. And the teachers always have some kind of a little exercise that we do with those kids. I get 2 kids every 15 minutes, and we work on early in the year just numbers and letters and colors and shapes and things like that. So you don't have to prepare anything, you just go. And I enjoy the kids, and they surprise me because they're, this year especially, it's really bright little people. And it's fun, and so it's not much commitment really, but that's what we do. And it's hard to know if it's really worth the time or not because they're 4 years old. But it's enjoyable, and I think it is good. I've seen some of the kids, open up a little bit. If they're maybe a little shy, maybe a little afraid, I think maybe of a person, especially a man that they don't know. And they get comfortable with it, and so it's a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed it very much. Recently, Monday, I'll go on Mondays, and this Monday, they've always got, it's like a game or an exercise, and this was, 5 or 6 cards that had pictures on it, and then there was a box of items, and for instance, one of the cards had a picture of a cowboy, and then one of the items that they had was a cowboy hat, and so these kids had to take the hat and connect it, or that it fit with the cowboy. And there was a bird's nest and a bird, and so it's that sort of thing. Just if they can look at those two and connect them and realize that they belong together. That's what we did this week. The week before, we did puzzles. There were 4 or 5 different puzzles, and they're usually just, 5 or 6 pieces each, but there would be animals and shapes and things like that. And so they put those puzzles together. Later in the year, you do some sounds and letters and, things like that. But right now, early, it's pretty simple stuff. Most of those teachers do, they're just knee deep in it all the time. And so I think they appreciate the help and the interest. And we touch those kids, and probably helps a little bit. It's hard to know. Easier on the older kids, to see that you're having some kind of an impact. Oh yeah, they really don't this year. They just don't. They've all got masks on. But in the past, it was kind of good for your ego because you walk in and you got 3 or 4 kids that hit you about the knees, and yeah, they were excited, and it was always kind of fun when you walk in because they were glad to see you. I've never really had many discipline problems. It's hard sometimes, just to get them to sit down. But you can keep them for 15 minutes, and we give them little stickers. And I used to give away M&Ms. We don't do that this year, but little rewards so that they could feel a little accomplishment. Well, there are people that I've known, and then, when people get into it, they like it and they talk to their friends. And so there's some people I don't even know who have now, Now this year, nobody's going over there except me. They were all a little bit afraid of the virus. But there were people who were on that list who I didn't even know after a while because somebody else had asked them to come. Mm-hmm. And so they just, you know, I guess they tend to be older because they got a little more time. And once they do it, they like it and they want to do it some more. I've done it for a long time, and I go into the same classroom every week, and I always take somebody with me that those kids don't normally get to talk to. And we talk about where that person was in the 6th grade and the kind of choices that they made, you know, to get to where they are today. And we find out that I found out over the years that really the only difference between that whoever I take and the kids are the choices that they made. I mean, that and the age, obviously the age is a difference, but other than that, it's just, you know, those people grow up and do what they do. They, you know, everybody was in the 6th grade. It's a common experience. And so those kids that I'm talking to, you know, I think all identify with somebody over the period of a year because they see somebody who has similar situations. And I've got some life lessons that I talk about every week. I felt a long time ago that I needed some kind of a message. And so the life lessons, you know, I think that we could teach values in school without teaching religion. And we have to do that. You know, we can't do that. But the life lessons are first and foremost that it's never, there's never ever a good reason to be unkind to anybody, ever. You know, there's just no good reason to be unkind. Second, if you make good choices, you have more fun. You know, a lot of 6th grade kids wouldn't think about that, but it's very true that, you know, if you just make good choices, good things happen. And third, that it's hard to get into too much trouble with your mouth shut. You know, that's a lifelong lesson. Sometimes you just can't say something ugly and you can apologize, but you can't ever really take it back. Fourth, nobody wants an excuse. Either do what you're supposed to do or you don't. Fifth, every day counts. Sixth, you have to learn to take intelligent risk. And finally, that if there's something you really want to do, you just don't give up. You stay the course. And we talk about those every week, and those kids learn those life lessons. And I've seen those classes change. You know, I've just seen how they treat one another, and they're just, I really think that they learn the life lessons, and I'm sure some of them blow them off, but there's some kids that really take them to heart. You know, kids have questions when those people come in. And so their questions are always interesting. And everybody enjoys going. You know, I've done it for a long time. I've taken one person over all those years that I wouldn't take back again because they, you know, I just don't think they enjoyed the kids. But most everybody likes to go in and see the schools and see the kids, and they're very responsive. And, you know, I have them stand up and when they ask a question. And so, in the past, we worked a lot on learning to shake hands and introduce yourself and things like that. Haven't done that this year because of the COVID, but it really kind of, we try to set those kids up to set themselves apart a little bit and kind of push them in the right direction. And, you know, in 6th grade, they're just really beginning to make a lot of choices of their own. And so, you know, whatever they've done, if they get off on the right track from about 12 years old, they can be anybody.